You facilitate the passage in your special armor.
Here it is. You died, and your armor is the only thing keeping you alive. It's like your life support machine. And through that near-death experience, you gained sorcerer powers, I guess.
Darth Vader was a sorcerer artificer multiclass.
Wait, actually...
unironically, kind of, yeah.
Maybe onto something there.
Yeah, no, I'm totally
Did we just
right.
savage
You know
this?
it.
I think we just saved this episode. Well, I think we kept you around for something. Well, welcome everyone to Monsters Multiclass. I'm Kevin Odie.
I'm Jared Bornicle.
And I'm Wim Elder.
And on this episode, we are taking a look at the Artificer Sorcerer Multiclass, as my cat already decides to interfere. So let's dive into it.
What a dramatic drop.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we got to keep it, so.
Yeah, of course.
And go.
Today, we're going to be talking about the Artificer and the Sorcerer multiclass. So the Artificer is your Tinkerer, takes 13 intelligence to multiclass into, and they are a half-caster. I think their main things is just around that being like the engineer with magic. And this is the first one that we actually get to discuss the Armorer subclass in addition to the other three. So I'm excited for that. Then on the flip side, we have the Sorcerer with 13 charisma to multi-class into. They are a full caster and generally get their powers from just being born with it or touching something that gives them magic or just in some way being imbued with magic and not really learning or offering up anything for it. Generally speaking. So let's go ahead and hear some first thoughts on this multi-class. Kevin.
So this one definitely has a lot going against it. You have two spellcasters with different ability scores, intelligence and charisma, and right away that's already an uphill battle. But then in addition, one of those classes is the Sorcerer, which benefits from being a sorcerer for as long as possible. Their main thing, meta magic, field off sorcery points, goes up, and the sorcery points goes up based on sorcerer level. So it's hard to multi-class with this. Luckily, though, the Artificer being a half-caster means there's a lot of cool different non-spell-related features that I think the Sorcerer can nab and benefit from. So I think there's some stuff to do here, but there's also a lot of crap.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a trickier one. Lots and lots of traps where you could just make a character that just genuinely isn't fun to play, as you're kind of bad at a lot of stuff. Will, do you have any riveting tidbits to add?
Kind of. We've discussed this before. The Artificer was never a good dip. And the Sorcerer, I wouldn't say is a good dip anymore either if you're just chasing meta magic, because we went over it. There's now a feat for it. So, I don't know. It's a rough combo.
Yeah, I might argue that Artificer is an okay dip. It does get infusions at level 2, which are amazing. Mm-hmm. And at the very least, again, Armorer as a subclass is a tempting 3-level dip. I mean, getting heavy armor proficiency and all of its other, Guardian and Infiltrator abilities is nothing to scoff at. And for any spellcaster, that might be worth chasing.
Yeah, that was my main idea with this as well. Mainly being a Sorcerer with a 3-level dip down to Armorer. And yeah, that would get you up to heavy armor proficiency. You get infusions along the way. You don't slow down your spellcasting too much because for Artificer, it's half the level rounded up, which is nice, as opposed to rounded down like all the other half casters. And it opens up your spell list a little bit. Yeah. What's nice about Artificer is the prepared caster, so they get their entire list of level appropriate, and then could prepare differently per day, so it's not like you have to pick and get locked into just like 3 spells. So it kind of gives you this wide berth of spells to pick from. And I think it would be pretty easy to avoid spells that require intelligence. Because if you're mainly a sorcerer, you're probably just going to get intelligence to 13, and that'd be that.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about an Artificer dip as well is you do get your armor proficiencies. Even ignoring the Armorer, which gets you heavy armor, Sorcerers get 0 armor proficiencies. So they're relying on either the Draconic bloodline to get some AC or mage armor. But if you go Artificer, you get light armor and medium armor, even if you don't start out as an Artificer.
Right. That's one that is hard to justify. Like, I know we kind of have these conversations where this is the class being made or this is the character being made, so that's a benefit. But if you do look at all of your choices, if you're just chasing armor, there's definitely better options than getting your intelligence to 13 and multiclassing an Artificer. Go Paladin and you'll get heavy armor. Go Fighter and you'll get heavy armor. Go Hexblade Warlock and you get medium armor.
None of the classes give you heavy armor if you go into them.
You would just start as them. Take one level in Fighter, then.
Yes, you're right. If you are like
Sorcerer,
high level view trying to build a character, yes.
Right.
Though one of the things that people normally will will start in Sorcerer for is the Constitution saving throw. But these both actually get Constitution saving throws. Artificer gets Intelligence as their other one, and Sorcerers get Charisma as their other one. So one thing that I do like is it really does not matter which of these classes you start into, except for that one thing, where you can just choose which one's more important to you.
Yeah, if you multiclass in a Sorcerer, you get no proficiencies, but
they
don't get any anyways. Yeah, they get a couple skills.
Right.
Yeah, where then if you multiclass into Artificer, you get the armor proficiencies and the artisan tools and tinkerer's tools and all that stuff that's required to be an Artificer.
First day of Artificer school, they're like, where's your tinkerer's tools?
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and then specifically the armorer, which you can pick up at 3rd level, is just kind of universally cool stuff. Yeah, heavy armor, and you can make this magical heavy suit of armor where you don't need the strength requirements to wear it, which is great. So that's, you're already worrying about intelligence and charisma. Now you don't have to throw strength in the mix. And then you just get some cool benefits. Especially if, like, for Guardian, where you get a melee attack, which usually you normally wouldn't get. And then the defensive field, where you can give yourself
10 HP.
Hit points. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one does rely on your Artificer level. You get temp HP equal to your Artificer level up. Or I think you can do it as many times as your proficiency bonus. So that one is kind of tricky. If you're only taking 3 levels in armorer, in armorer, then it's really not too great, but it's still free temp HP, and like you've got heavy armor, so it's fine. You don't need it to be that much. That's like little icing.
Right. And then the Infiltrator being able to do ranged attacks. But then again, I mean, you're fighting against cantrips, which
right.
I don't know if that's really worth it.
You are losing against cantrips.
I say, yeah.
Especially when you factor in that you can use either Dex or Intelligence. And, if we're talking about keeping your Intelligence low, that's not going to happen. And your Dexterity is not going to be higher than your Charisma. Unless you really are making characters on another level that we don't understand. The Artificer Sorcerer, who's got 20 in Dex and 13 in Charisma and Intelligence.
Right.
Quality builds.
Yeah, that's the choice I'd make.
Or you never know. A lot of people roll stats instead of doing point buy. They might end up with 18 and all 3.
That's such a... I think about this all the time, but it's such a bad way to talk about any multi-class. It's like, oh yeah, if your stats are just like 18s across the board when you start, this will be fine. I mean, there's a couple things you can do. It's like, yes, you're totally right, and maybe that is applicable to some people's situations, but
right,
no, it's not.
No, yeah. A negative, though, foregoing armorer is those melee attacks or the ranged attack you get from your suit, the Guardian or Infiltrator suit. As you mentioned, it's strength, dex, or intelligence, none of which is probably going to be that high.
Right.
Like, the benefit of it is if you were just an Artificer, your intelligence is your highest stat, and so you use that and you're happy. In this case,
all that said,
that's a little rough.
I do feel like there's at least some benefit to taking like a 3-level dip into Sorcerer. I know, Will, you mentioned there's a feat out now that gives you meta magic options. It's still somewhat limiting. I mean, maybe it's better overall, but Sorcerer, you're getting more spell slots, which Artificer's only a half caster, so you're getting more spells, more spell slots, and meta magic options that you can now convert into sorcery points, which just from the feat, you can't do the whole conversion aspect. There is at least something there of giving yourself more spellcasting and being a better spellcaster for Artificer. You're probably better off, not probably, you are better off going into Wizard for these things, just to like, straight up get more spells. But there's at least that aspect with Sorcerer where I feel like the meta magic can play into it. You can use your meta magic for your Artificer spells and, make it a bit better of an spellcaster.
I can't buy into that. It just because of the ability score difference.
But you
and
only
it being so limited. So you go 3 levels, so you get 3 sorcery points to play around with instead of 2 from the feat. And
you can convert them.
Yeah, not much though. Whereas if you go Wizard, you just get the Arcane Recovery.
No, I mean you can convert your spells into sorcery points. You can't do that with the feat.
Right, okay. I thought you were saying sorcery points into spells.
No, that's not worthwhile.
Yeah, the problem is it's just not that good.
It's not great, but it's not that great for sorcerers either.
No.
But if you like the idea of tinkering with your spells and that's like, how you want to go about it, that's one way that you can try and do it. Not the way I'd suggest from a, broad appeal, but there's a possibility. And in that build, you don't need to have your charisma even over 13. I mean, you probably want it at like 14 or something just because, but to get just 3 levels into Sorcerer, you can just do that and you don't have to focus on charisma that much.
Yeah, I mean, make sure you pick spells that don't require a save or...
Right, which I don't think...
If you're just doing the burning of them into sorcery points, it doesn't matter at all. You don't even have to pick the spells.
Right.
With really much thought.
Yeah, you get a few extra spell slots and just turn them into sorcery points.
Right, though sorcerers definitely aren't known for their utility spells in comparison to wizards. You can probably find a couple in the first 3 levels.
Or even artificers, to be honest. The artificer has a ton of the utility spells. So it's not like you're getting a whole lot.
Right.
So if you did do this mythical sorcerer dip that we never ever advocate for, what subclass would you pick? Because you get those at first level.
Yeah, so I think the first one that jumped out at me just fitting the Artificer was the Clockwork Sorcerer. Because that's very much an order style class mixed with Artificer, which has a very much an order vibe to it. And I think you could go whatever Artificer you want, and then Clockwork, you at least get the Restore Balance ability, which I actually like a lot. I know we talked about that in our Sorcerer episode. You can remove advantage or disadvantage from a roll as a reaction up to your proficiency modifier. So even a 1-level dip into Sorcerer is going to get you that ability and, get you a couple uses of that per day, which honestly, I don't know how many uses you need of that per day, but it's pretty darn useful when you've got it. Then you also get 2 first-level spells just for free on top of the other Sorcerer ones, like from their Sorcerer list. And the 2 that they give you suck. It's Alarm and Protection from Evil and Good. Not a huge fan of those, but you can replace them with an Abjuration spell or a Transmutation spell from the Wizard, Warlock, or Sorcerer spell list.
Right.
So from there, you can get a lot of good stuff. Absorb Elements is an option, which I absolutely love and is a first-level spell reaction. No save, you just can have damage from, or you get resistance to a damage type as a reaction. I think it's elemental, so it's not like bludgeoning or anything like that, but super useful.
Alpha,
Right. And then there's some other options. I saw like Armor of Agathis on there, which has a first level spell, like casting at that level. Not too strong, but having it as an option as an Artificer, love it.
Especially if you're Armorer or Battlesmith up in the up in the fray there. Just one thing to clarify: when you could swap those levels out when you gain a sorcerer level. So if you just go one level dip, you're never going to be able to swap those out. You have to at least go.
Do you think that feels a little weird to me? It's like, well, I gained the sorcerer level. I want to swap them right from the start.
So whenever you gain a sorcerer level, you could replace one spell you gain from this feature with another spell of the same level.
Okay, I will say rules.
The implication being, yeah,
when you level up.
That's fair. Rules is written. No, you cannot, and that's perfectly good to know. I think that'd be really dumb if I said like, well, can I just replace these at level 1? And the DM was like, oh no, you have to level up first. Sorry. From like
I would make you level up first.
No, you wouldn't, because you wouldn't DM.
I'd make you level up first.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense to me. It's like you leveled up, you grew in power, you're kind of forgetting these spells and drawing in new ones.
Sure.
That makes sense to do it on a level up as opposed to just whenever.
Sure, fine. Then, all that said, you still probably want to go at least 3 levels into this. Just
for the meta magic.
Yeah, for the meta magic, for more spells, all of that.
Yeah, if you've already committed the charisma, it's like, yeah, might as well go to 3 levels.
Yeah.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
When we say committed the charisma, I feel like getting a stat to 13 is something I do on accident for something I don't really care about.
I'll do that it depends on the character concept you want to play. If you're trying to be the party's face or just in general better in social situations, yeah, charisma's fine to have up there even if you have no plans for the class. If not, if there is a bard in the party who has 20 charisma and they're going to be doing all the persuading and sweet talking and you just don't care about that, it is kind of a waste.
Right.
As opposed to like Dex is always going to be useful. Wisdom getting up there will always be useful. Obviously, Constitution will always be useful. Charisma's kind of one of those.
You say wisdom's always useful?
Yeah, like perception. I mean, that's probably the most commonly rolled ability
Everybody has perception. Why does everyone need to have proficiency in perception? Just leave it. Let other people be good at it.
That's how it works. In terms of how surprise round works, everybody needs to individually check if they're surprised, so.
Sure.
I see it come up a lot. Perception rolls.
It definitely does, but I wouldn't say it's as important as, say, Constitution.
No.
So I could easily see a character like this not caring about strength. They don't really care about Dex. They don't really care about Wisdom. So you've got 3 stats that just don't matter. That's about the requirements of every class ever, usually, is 2 or 3 stats that you need to focus on. So it's like, it's not impossible. I'm not saying that it's worthwhile to chase them both, just that getting it to that 13 or 14 level, it's not that hard.
Yeah, for a while I was playing a character that I needed strength, dex, and charisma.
Right. And you still had it, and that character was extremely effective.
Right. But that was a paladin rogue. Those classes also had
a lot more synergy worth chasing.
A lot more synergy than Artificer Sorcerer.
Very true.
Yeah, it was not stat bound at all.
That's true.
Right.
But this isn't entirely either, minus some save DCs. It just isn't very good.
I would say the Artificer has a lot that relies on intelligence. Yes. I think every subclass does. So armor, we already talked about their special weapons using intelligence.
And that
Battlesmith.
Not the temp HP. That's level. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, and then the Battlesmith, again, their big thing is you could replace your strength and dex when it comes to attacking with intelligence. And their Steel Defender stats also go up based on intelligence. At least their health, possibly other things. I'm not going to look at that in detail. The Artillerist, like the Force Ballista, it's a ranged spell attack, meaning you're using your intelligence. Yep. The Flamethrower is they make a dex saving throw based on your spell save DC, which uses intelligence. And the Protector, which gives you temp HP of 1d8 plus your intelligence. Alchemist, maybe Alchemist doesn't, but who gives a shit about the Alchemist?
And the final point, they're preparation casters. So the higher their intelligence, the more spells they can prepare per day.
Yeah. That's a big one.
And
I forget about that.
And they have a bunch of other stuff.
I never played preparation casters.
They're interesting. But also it's Flash of Genius, which if you're talking about getting this to 7th level, then you're probably focusing on intelligence over charisma anyways.
Right.
But still, just the Artificer has a lot of stuff baked into it that focuses on intelligence. Compared to the Sorcerer, that actually doesn't really care what your charisma is, like, throughout the entire class.
Right.
It's kind of weird.
No, it's
There's a couple
the elemental
careful spell.
bonus ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for
Which
the
is
Draconic.
that's actually huge for playstyle if you are trying to be a blaster. Because that's going to come up every single turn. 4 versus 3 extra damage. Not exactly Warlock, but
to finish up this whatever/clockwork build, I really, from a flavor perspective, would love the idea of it being this, extremely lawful character, but like their dedication to efficacy has caused them to be suffused with order and all that, but have like a moment where they're forging something and they hit their hammer in the exact right way for like the 10,000th time, and it basically pops up like one of those old style internet banners that's like, you've done something lawful and order filled for the 10,000th time. Oh boy, I lost it. There we go. Anyways, click here to claim your restore balance feature, and it just as cheesy as possible.
Right. Or the other way around, their they just have a heap of metal, and they're the Clockwork Sorcerer, and they're hammering and thinking, let me like shape this into something neat, and all of a sudden, poof, a steel defender pops out of it.
Like,
they just like imbue their magic into it. I guess I'm an artificer now.
As it normally goes.
Yeah.
And then the thing just can't really be in combat for, 2 more levels.
Oh yeah, you can only get to till 3rd.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. I like
it's not a good dip.
Well,
it's the worst dip in the game.
Artificer 1 level dip is the worst dip in the game.
Unless you're a wizard, yes.
Yeah. It's dipping for armor, which, as discussed, there are much easier ways to get armor proficiencies.
For sorcerer, yes.
For just about any class.
Yeah. We've already done Artificer Wizard, and I stand by that one. Wizard going 1 level into Artificer, they do not slow down their spell progressions, and they get medium armor.
Yep.
And they're already going to have the intelligence and simple weapons and shields. And
yeah, no, I'm with you.
like, great.
That's good.
Sure. Easy.
Do you have any other builds? I've got some builds.
Just to round out what requires intelligence. The Alchemist at 5th, they get the thing where if they do fire, necrotic, poison, acid, etc. damage, they could add their intelligence modifier to it.
And what's the Artillerist one?
That was the Force Ballista requiring a spell attack, or the Flamethrower requiring... Oh, you mean their 5th level?
Yes, their 5th
level.
The
Arcane Firearm?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can turn a wand into this magical arcane firearm.
They get an extra D8 in damage on their cantrips.
Yeah.
That's it. So that one doesn't matter for intelligence.
On your Artificer spells, though.
Yes.
So it's kind of limited there. Yeah, I've also noticed basically everything that will do something like that in the Artificer, where it impacts spells in a certain way or whatever, it is always specifically called out as when you use your Artificer focus to cast your Artificer spells.
Yeah, and
so it doesn't combine well.
That's why the more I look at it, like, I almost find it hard to justify doing an Artificer dip. It's just because, like, anything that they get is so...
You almost find that difficult?
I still think there's something with it.
Possibly a 3rd level. I'm actually souring on the 3-level dip to Armorer just because all you're getting is heavy at that point, and not needing strength requirements, which is, not nothing, but like those attacks, you're not going to use it. If you're mainly a sorcerer, you're not going to be punching things with your Thunder Gauntlets and making them attack you. You still have just a D6 hit dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's totally fair.
Yeah. There's a couple infusions that require or rely on intelligence. Like getting a homunculus could be nice. That you could do that at level 2. But like its hit points is 1 plus your intelligence modifier plus your Artificer level. And it's like if you take a 2-level dip and you have 13 intelligence, that's 4 health.
Woohoo!
That's.
There's
another spell that lets you do that. It's pretty fun.
It's called Find Familiar. Sorcerers don't get Find Familiar, though, I don't think.
No, but they do get the ability to get Find Familiar through the spell initiator or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you start coming down to, all right, do I take a feat or do I take a 2-level dip? And get some other stuff along the way.
Now, every time I've envisioned going the armorer route with Sorcerer, every time, I just looked it up this morning, so it's been like
Right.
an hour of me thinking about this. The Infiltrator is the only one that makes sense to me, because you're right, the Guardian, you're not getting that much temp HP. You're not using your attacks at all. But the Infiltrator, you at least get +5 speed. Sorry, +5 feet to your speed, which is something. And then you get the dampening field, so advantage on stealth checks. That is just, again, kind of in addition to the heavy armor proficiency. And I guess the quick on and off of your armor, which is always nice.
Sure.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah. I'd almost argue just more for that 2 level, though. Get your infusions and then don't waste another level if you're a sorcerer.
But you already had to give up all of your stats for this weird thing to work, so you're not going to have a high dex. The medium armor is not going to do that much unless you have 14.
What if you roll 18s across the board, and every time you roll hit points on your sorcerer levels, it was a 6. So you're just out of control.
Yeah, I mean, the Artificer going into armor can just add and the 3 levels. It adds a bit of beefiness to the Sorcerer. Whether or not that's necessary or particularly good, I don't know, but it's something, and I could see why you'd want to do that. And if you comboed that Infiltrator armor with the Shadow Sorcerer, then it is a pretty cool flavor mix.
Okay, I can see that. The kind of, you're in shadowy and darkness. And
Yeah.
you
an armory darkness.
And you facilitate the passage in your special armor.
Here it is. You died, and your armor is the only thing keeping you alive. It's like your life support machine. And through that near-death experience, you gained sorcerer powers, I guess.
Darth Vader was a sorcerer artificer multiclass.
Wait, actually,
unironically, kind of, yeah.
Maybe onto something there.
Yeah, no, I'm totally
Did we just
right.
savage
You know
this?
it.
I think we just saved for this episode. Well, I knew we kept you around for something.
I don't know if he would have been shadow magic, though. But, you know.
Are you serious?
I've watched Star Wars like once, man.
Okay, shadows, dark side.
Oh, okay.
How is it not coming together for you?
Yeah, they draw the power from the Shadowfell, draw from the dark side of the Force. Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically there. The only thing that gets a little weird is the extreme proficiency with the melee weapon, the lightsaber. So I guess you need to go... Yeah, because
that's
a little wonky.
Problem with the crossover universe thing.
Yeah. Yes. So what do shadow magic sorcerers get?
Their biggest thing is they need to get to 3rd level, because that's when they can use their meta magic to cast darkness and see through the darkness.
Yes, two sorcery points to cast darkness. You can see it. Also, I mean, they get dark vision up to 120 feet, which if you don't have, that's nice.
Right.
And what's the strength of it? It's been so long since I've looked at this. Oh, yeah. When damage reduces you to 0, you can make a charisma saving throw, which with DC of 5 plus damage taken. On a success, you instead drop to 1.
Yeah, that'd be like if you're lucky, you get that. The issue is if you were to take... That's really nice when you're Shadow Sorcerer just straight through, because obviously you have Charisma going up, but you're also proficient in Charisma saving throws. If you start with Artificer, you're not going to be proficient, and you're going to have bad Charisma, so that might be a tough sell. This one I'd actually do the 3 dip into Artificer, though, so I would probably have the Charisma up, low Intelligence, because you don't need the high Intelligence just to wear heavy armor and get all the Infiltrator benefits. And you'd still only have 2 infusions, but those infusions could be like the this is regardless of the subclass mix, but that would be like the arcane, enhanced arcane, what is it? Focus. Yes, enhanced arcane focus, where you can just get +1 to any attack rolls, spell attack rolls. So you can make that for yourself, which is super nice.
Right. Yeah, this is definitely some good infusions. The Mind Sharpener, where you get the 4 charges and expend 1 to succeed on a concentration check.
Yes.
Replicate magic items. Just, kind of pull out of there whatever you need.
Yeah. And so then if you were to continue going with the Shadow Sorcerer, Hound of Ill Omen is pretty good, though I view that as a really outdated class ability, because I feel like if that came out now, it would be different. As it is written right now, you have to expend, I think, 3 sorcery points in order to make this Hound of Ill Omen, and then it can only attack one creature, it can make opportunity attacks against that creature, and otherwise it just is like a dire wolf with a little bit more temp HP. Super not that great. I feel like if this came out now, it would be one of those abilities where you can use it once for free, and then you start using sorcery points. And it just seems like, I look at that stuff now, stuff that came out, 2-3 years ago, that was in Xanathars, and it just feels so outdated, not like having that little tidbit in there.
Right.
They ripped this out of the Hexblade Unearthed Arcana.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it's never been like a particularly coherent little feature. But you're right. There's no the proficiency bonuses, the once for free. It's all very, very good stuff, and it's good for multi-classing. So that's why like Clockwork Soul comes up and it's like, wow, that is an okay dip because they made some cool features for multi-classing.
Right.
Shadow Magic, too old.
Yeah. So I almost I'm not saying I'm going to do this or allow it, but it's like I see stuff like this and I almost want to toy with it at like in actual play and just be like, yeah, you get that for free once per day. Because like that's just, I know that's balanced. Look at everything else that we're seeing now. That's balanced. It's fine. Give it to them once per day. Stop sucking out the sorcery points from sorcerers. Let them have fun.
I was going to say 3 is a lot.
It's a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, also, this doesn't scale great because it is always permanently the stats of a dire wolf. Like, I don't think it goes up at all.
Just
at any point, nothing.
Temp HP based on your sorcerer level. That's not much.
Yeah, this also needs one of those newfangled stat blocks where it has like a plug and play thing, whereas the health is this plus your sorcerer level plus your charisma, and the attack is a D6 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma, that sort of thing.
My bigger issue around the Hound of Ill Omen is the fact that it can only attack. Because if I could because its major benefit, regardless of attacks it's doing, is the fact that if it's within 5 feet of that target, it gets disadvantage on all of your spell saves. That's the major benefit.
Oh,
but you can't even dodge
nice.
with it. I can't take the dodge action, so it's just going to die.
Right.
So like little stuff like that, it's just like, what were they thinking? And it's easy to say now, because again, we're looking at this new design, which I think is a whole lot better. But as I look back, as you said, Will, it's always been a little bit awkward, but it's just made even more glaring now.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea. Spooky shadow wolf that follows things around and curses them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in practice, it's hemorrhage your sorcery points for a non-scaling dire wolf.
They can only do really one thing. The disadvantage on saving throws is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, again, just like, if it could dodge and just kind of sit there and like not immediately die, then I love it. Might be enough. Yeah, still.
Yeah, 14 AC.
Right. Say, even having it there just for one turn might be enough to get the spell off that you need. You need to give them disadvantage against banishment. They've been banished. You don't really care if that dire wolf's around anymore.
Well, you know what you could do? Spend 3 sorcery points on the heightened spell meta magic to give disadvantage on your spell.
That's only one try, though. Where this...
Yeah, but you were saying it
Yes.
But I guess it would also absorb a hit for you then.
Yeah. So this is better than that meta magic. And you probably don't need to take that meta magic if you are a shadow sorcerer.
Yeah, so other subclasses here. I like the idea of storm sorcery with the armor artificer. Because, like the armor is dealing lightning damage. And I just kind of like picture their suits are sparking and all that sort of crap. And then storm sorcery deals a lot of lightning damage and thunder damage. And I think that could be kind of cool. But there's not a lot of mechanical synergy. No. It's just like cool in flavor, and that's it. I was like really open and looking through it. And anything that's dealing with lightning damage, it's when you cast a spell. And like your thunder gauntlets and chest cannon are not spells. The tempestuous magic, if I'm saying that right, at first level you get is where Immediately, yeah, after you cast a spell at first level or higher, you get a fly speed of 10 feet, and you don't provoke opportunity attacks with it. And like that's kind of nice, but again, it doesn't really fit well with the playstyle of like the Guardian Armorer, who's going to be like in there. I could see like they punch something and the blast of air shoots them back out of danger. It's like, oh, that could be really cool, but they're not casting spells. So it's a neat flavor.
I had
these. Oh, and you could speak, read, and write Primordial. So
never mind.
Yeah.
Bringing it back around. I had the exact same thought with the Artillerist and the Storm Sorcerer, but let's be like, Lightning Artificer, kind of that same deal. And for that, you'd have to change the flamethrower to lightning damage, like keep it all the same, just get rid of the fire, make it lightning. Yes, I know that there are other implications to that, but I like it just flavor-wise, and you get a little tickle cannon like Winston in Overwatch, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, just reflavor the force battle stuff from force to lightning as well.
Sure.
It would actively be a downgrade, actually.
Yes.
I think there's more resistance to lightning than force, but...
Yeah, definitely. And overall, as you said, mechanically, it just doesn't work. It's not good, but it kind of, like, it sounds cool. Mechanical, electric, you put them together, it should be good, right?
Right. And then there's my favorite sorcerer go-to dip, Wild Magic.
See, I didn't even look into this because I knew you'd bring something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super great here if you're just going like 1 or 2 levels into sorcerer, because it's all comes off of when you cast a sorcerer spell.
Right.
That being said, like it doesn't track spell slots, so it could be you have a known sorcerer spell, but then you're casting a lot more than you could because you're using your slots from Artificer. That would still do it. So as long as it's just a spell that is on Artificer or Sorcerer list, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Would it work that way? I think not, actually. I think it would have to be a spell you choose from the Sorcerer spellcasting feature, which means when you get at first level.
Yeah, you'd have to keep them separate.
Yeah, you'd have to track them separate, so that's kind of a pain in the ass. But
so, like, if Shield was on both, and you took Shield as an Artificer spell, not a Sorcerer one,
right?
Using Shield wouldn't count for it,
right? So yeah, I don't know if this would come up a crazy amount, but you could try and pick a spell like. Though I don't think Sorcerers get Shield. I'm not 100% sure on that, though.
I was taking a guess.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, a spell that will come up a lot, and then also get the Tides of Chaos where they can give themselves advantage once per long rest on basically anything they want, or they cast a sorcerer spell and then roll on the table and it comes back. That's always just kind of fun stuff to have to play around with. I wouldn't go just 1 level for it unless you're just chasing the character concept because it's neat, which I totally get.
Yeah.
I did that with a Bard at like 14th level, I think.
But once again,
and then it almost never came up.
A little bit easier to justify mechanically.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, sorcerers do get Shield.
Neat. There you go. So have them pick Shield because that's going to be used a lot. Shield is just one of those spells that comes up.
But only the Artillerist and Battlesmith Artificers get Shield.
Okay.
This doesn't really matter, though.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I like Wild Magic Sorcerer just for a flavor dip alone, and if you can make it work, great. And then you get Tides of Chaos, great. It's good. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always an exciting time when you get to roll on the table.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it.
I love when my pants turn blue. I know, it's skin turn blue.
Yeah.
Unless you have the D1000 table.
10,000.
10,000.
We've talked about to death on previous Sorcerer episodes, so...
Yeah, I think that's really all of the combos that made sense to me, though.
Yeah. Draconic Sorcerer, the Draconic Bloodline. Like, I mean, the first level ability is not bad for anybody, really, where you get the... your hit bar maximum increases by 1. I guess that's per level in Sorcerer class, though, so that's really going to super drop off. And then AC is 13 plus Dex, so you need Dex. Yeah, never mind.
That's medium armor.
Yep, I take that back.
Yeah, I don't like that one
it doesn't,
at all.
Then, not until 6th do you get anything worthwhile with the elemental affinity of adding your charisma onto. Yeah, and it's specifically spells, so, Artificer get a lot of way to do elemental damage without casting a spell, and the elemental affinity is when you cast a spell. That's not just when you deal damage of that type, so. Not a lot of good synergy there.
I think the only other point that I would make, and this is just slightly in favor of the multi-class in general, is that sorcerers don't have anything taking up their bonus action, and both the artillerist and the battlesmith, which I probably wouldn't do regardless, but those get something consistently to do with your bonus action. So even if they're not the strongest, like, you know, your artillery isn't going to be the best compared to just going a full artificer, it's still something to do with your bonus action, and extra damage is extra damage. Or even if you're just doing the temp HP that you get from the protector cannon, it's still free temp HP that you weren't getting otherwise.
Right. And yeah, even if your intelligence is just +1 at the 13, I mean, it's still a D8 +1. Right. So it's not bad at all.
Right.
That's still pretty solid. Yeah. In terms of role playing, is there anything here that really excites you?
You know how I feel about sorcerers.
Yeah, I could see a sorcerer where they kind of been gifted their magic powers, and they feel like, you know what, I think maybe if I could just do this innately, imagine if I worked at it. But they kind of like already had a hobby and an interest in the mechanical and all that, and so instead of going wizard, they go artificer, and they kind of enhance themselves that way. Kind of adds that sort of agency and choice to a class that doesn't really have that built in.
Yeah. The only way that it's interesting to me is utilizing what I have leaned heavily into, and that's the ability to choose to be a sorcerer through like rituals and such. The idea of an artificer trying to modify themselves and imbue their bodies with arcane energy. Yep. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Another cool way to handle it.
I just keep thinking about Anakin Skywalker, man.
That's what you've been thinking about the last 20 minutes, Will?
Yeah, you're just sitting there at Tatooine being an artificer. You're like, yeah, this is great. And then some sorcerers show up.
Oh my god, he really was. Yeah, he built droids and shit. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It
you
fits
have an
too
innate
well.
sorcerer's power.
That's perfect.
What? I do?
There you go. Kevin, you just got our YouTube clickbait title. Just making Anakin Skywalker?
Right.
And you can just take my face doing that. Yeah.
The only thing that I can see that may work a little better is the blatant singing wizard instead of sorcerer.
Nah.
Because you still have that kind of
Kevin.
proficiency with weapons. And it's like, even though he had the innate force ability, he still had to train for it. Like Jedi's...
That's sorcerers in general, though.
Midichlorians, dude.
Yeah.
You have to be born with it, and then you can train it. That's like the concept of sorcerers is you're born with it.
Right, and then you have growing power. Okay. Yeah, it does work super well.
It's really good.
So good.
I mean, and what's not? It's like you're going to be so underwhelmed if you come into your table playing, I'm being Darth Vader. And it's like, they have that badass image in mind. Especially like the Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One when they kind of recreate the opening to A New Hope. Where you're...
Sure.
Yeah,
you lost me.
It's a really badass scene, but whatever. It like really, really shows the power of like Darth Vader that you don't get it so much in the originals. And then you're, everything we just talked about with all its pitfalls and kind of lackluster abilities, and you're not really going to be smacking things with a sword or anything.
If you want to nerf it even more, just into oblivion, you just go aberrant mind, because force, telekinesis, they're basically the same thing.
Oh, jeez.
And you're just really excited. You come to the table. You want to play Darth Vader.
Right.
Your DM made it for you. You said, I want to play Darth Vader. Well, here it is.
Right. Right. And get to 6th in Artificer and give yourself the Radiant Weapon Infusion.
There you go. There you go.
It's all coming together.
I hate when that happens, though. When it's like, oh, yeah, here is like... I mean, that's a legitimately cool concept. Obviously, people like Darth Vader as a character. But, sorry, it does not work in D&D here.
Yeah, make up your own shit, guys. Everybody in the community, just make your own stuff up. Just completely. Do not try and make these formulas work, because they're just...
Right. I know you're like saying it
holes.
somewhat facetiously, but that is a good point. A lot of times people have the idea of like, oh, I want to make this well-established, powerful character from some other thing. And it usually just doesn't work out well. It's always in my mind, always ends up feeling a little disappointing because you're sacrificing stuff and things aren't quite right. And especially if you're making like a superhero who's like the hero of their own movies and comics, it's like you're not going to match that power level in here. Like you have to be on par with the rest of your party.
I guess it depends on how rooted in reality you are. If you think I want to use that character as an influence and have aspects of them in my character,
yes.
and like, yes, I want to see some of their abilities manifested, but to me, their character as a whole and the way they act is more important. Yes, you can do it. But yeah, you're right. When it's like a level 20 build that will make Captain America, it's like this. It's dumb.
It's not gonna feel right. Yeah, no, influences from other characters, absolutely. I mean, that's almost impossible to not do.
Oh, not me. I've never once been influenced by anything.
Right, yeah.
It's like watch another anime and rip a plot off for you guys to go into.
Right, I know. Just anime episodes.
Every single one.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's not true. I could find an anime that literally details the entire plot of our campaign.
I would actually be impressed.
Give me a little bit.
Sounds like a good anime. Must be some smart writers. And you know what else is smart? Making sure to use the discount code MM10 when you purchase dice from our affiliates, Metallic Dice Games. You can get yourself some of the prettiest looking dice. Kevin, would you put an image up of their dice?
Yeah,
right around
sure,
there. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
they should over your face. Was that what that was?
Care.
Right here over my face.
People don't come for my face; they come for the dice, Kevin.
Right.
So you can use our code MM10 and get 10% off your entire order and get yourself some awesome dice.
Yeah. And then, it supports the show because we get a percentage of the sale, which is nice. I guess that's said with affiliate. People kind of understand what that is.
I guess.
I don't stop talking.
Or they don't. Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe you just turn somebody away from it. They're like, 10% off. That's cool. Supporting the show? No thanks.
Don't forget to leave a thumbs down.
Please don't do that.
Right. Yeah. That'd be sad. We don't have the viewership on YouTube yet to sustain like thumbs downs.
No, they
hurt. If a view has like 100,000, like a video has 100,000 views and there's a few thumbs downs, like whatever. 100 views and a thumb down is like it's gonna snowball.
Only when I say something bad about psionics. So the ones we have thumbs downs on.
Right.
All right. As for the rest, make sure to like, subscribe, and click that bell. Don't forget the bell. And if you want to support the show, there are links in the description. You can find us on social media and any other place that you need to.
Cool. Yeah, this was a short one. The whole thing under an hour.
Good for us.
I was about to say we're getting quick, but that's still not quick. That's a crazy long.
That's not even
video.
Close to quick. We should have stuck at 20 minutes of talking about Darth Vader.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks for watching.